Everyone asking if the AWS Cloud Practitioner certification is worth it is asking the wrong question. The right question is, what game are you playing? Because this certification does completely different things depending on which game that you are in. Now, for some people, it's the most valuable $100 that they'll spend this year, right? It's the thing that finally gets them unstuck. But for others, it's a waste of time that delays what they actually need to do. It's busy work dressed up as progress. I'm Suleiman. I've worked in tech for over a decade. Today, I run my own AI and cloud security consultancy. And through my academy, I've helped over 700 people break into cloud and AI. Now, after watching how hiring actually works from the inside, and after seeing what separates people who can make it from the people who just stay stuck, I can tell you exactly which one that you are. But first, let me show you something that most certification content will never tell you. Here is how most people think about certifications. You study, you pass the exam, you add it to your resume, employers see it and they think, this person knows AWS. You get interviews, you get hired. Well, that's the fantasy. Here is the reality. Let me show you what actually happens when you apply for a cloud role. A recruiter gets 200 applications, maybe 300 for a role at a good company. They have about 30 seconds per resume. They're not reading your basic summary. They're not appreciating your career journey. They're not carefully evaluating your potential. They are scanning for keywords. AWS certified is a keyword. And when they see it, your resume stays in the pile. When they don't see it, well, your resume might get filtered out before a human ever even looks at it. That's the entire function of a certification in the initial screening. It doesn't tell them that you're skilled. It tells them that you're serious enough to pass a test. It's a signal and not proof. Now here's where it gets interesting. Not all signals are equal. The cloud practitioner is the weakest signal. Everyone knows it's entry level. A recruiter seeing the AWS cloud certified practitioner thinks, okay, this person has started learning AWS. They're not a complete beginner. That's the fault. That's all it generates. And the solutions architect associate, that's a stronger signal. This person understands how to design systems. They've gone beyond the basics. And the professional or the security certs, well, even stronger signals. This person has depth in a specific area. But here is what nobody talks about. The cloud practitioner does something else entirely. Something that has nothing to do with recruiters or hiring managers or keyword filters. It builds your internal momentum, and that might be more valuable than the credential itself. Now, I've watched hundreds of people try to break into cloud. The ones who fail don't fail because they're not smart enough. They don't fail because they've picked the wrong tutorial or the wrong learning path. They fail because they stall. They spend months learning AWS, watching tutorials, reading documentation, thinking about studying, making plans to make plans, but they never actually commit to anything with a deadline. They never put themselves in a position where there's a test, a date, a pass or fail outcome. So the learning stretches forever. 3 months becomes 6 months, becomes a year. They're always almost ready to start applying for jobs, but almost ready never becomes actually ready. Now, the cloud practitioner isn't valuable because of what it teaches you. It's valuable because it forces you to commit. Here is a date, here is a test, here's a $100 fee that you'll lose if you don't show up. Here's a pass or fail outcome that you can't negotiate or talk your way around. That structure does something psychological. It turns vague, I should learn cloud, into concrete. I'm passing this exam in 2 weeks' time. And the concrete beats vague every single time. Now, when I passed my cloud practitioner, the knowledge wasn't what changed my trajectory. Honestly, I knew most of it because I've already been working in tech. The momentum was what mattered. I passed it in 7 days, and the week after, I scheduled my solutions architect associate because now I had proof to myself. I had trust in myself, not to anyone else, that I could actually do this. One win led to a next win. That's how momentum works. The real value of cloud practitioner for people breaking into the cloud, it's not the actual credential, it's the first win. So let me break down the 3 games people are playing when they consider this certification. You can figure out which one that you're in, and the answer becomes really obvious. Game 1 is the career switcher. So here you're coming from a completely different field. Maybe you're in healthcare, maybe you're in finance, education, retail, maybe you're driving a truck. You never touch cloud infrastructure. Terms like EC2, S3 mean nothing to you right now. You might be feeling like an imposter before you even started. Like everyone else has had a head start and you are already behind. For you, the cloud practitioner is perfect. Not because recruiters care about it, they don't. Not yet. You're not applying for cloud jobs tomorrow. You're building towards being able to apply for cloud jobs in 3 to 6 months. The cloud practitioner is perfect here because you need to prove to yourself that you can learn this stuff. You need your first win. Something that says, I did it. I passed an official AWS exam. I'm not pretending anymore. That psychological shift matters more than the content of the exam itself. So here's what I recommend. Pass the Cloud Practitioner in just 2 weeks. Don't drag it out. Don't let it become a 3-month project. 2 weeks maximum. Then immediately, within a week, schedule your Solutions Architect Associate. Use the momentum while it's fresh. Don't let it fade. The Cloud Practitioner is your on-ramp to a highway. It's not the destination. It's not even a stop along the way. It's just how you get up to speed so you can merge into the traffic. Game 2 is the already technical. You're a developer, a sysadmin, a network engineer, someone who already works with infrastructure. Maybe you've even used AWS services, spun up an EC2 instance, stored something in S3, but without really understanding the full picture. Now, for you, the Cloud Practitioner might be a waste of time. Here is why. You already have the foundational understanding. You know what servers are, you know what storage is, you know what databases do. You do not need someone to explain that an EC2 is a virtual machine in the cloud or that S3 is object storage. Now, the Cloud Practitioner for you will feel slow. It'll feel basic, and it should. It's designed for people who don't have your background. So my recommendation for you is to skip it. Go straight to the Solutions Architect Associate. Here, you'll learn the Cloud Practitioner concepts along the way in context, while still studying for something that actually moves the needle on your resume. Now, the only exception to skip the Cloud Practitioner here is if your company will pay for it and you knock it out in a few days, then sure, just grab it, right? Free certification. It also will give you 50% discount on your next exam. No real cost to you. But don't spend 2-3 weeks on it. Go spend 3-4 days on it. Game 3, the non-technical professional. You're a project manager, a business analyst, a sales engineer, product manager. So you work with technical teams, but you don't write code yourself, right? So here, you're not trying to become a cloud engineer. For you, the Cloud Practitioner is genuinely valuable, and it might be the only AWS certification that you ever need. Here is why this is different from the other 2 games. Understanding the shared responsibility model, knowing what S3 and EC2 and Lambda actually do, and being able to talk intelligently about cloud architecture without nodding your head along and hoping that no one asks you a follow-up question, that makes you significantly better at your job. So when you are in meetings with engineers and they are discussing architecture decisions, you will actually start to understand the conversation and what they're talking about. And that means that you can ask better questions. You can translate between technical teams and your actual business stakeholders. And that's incredibly valuable. That's worth $100 and a couple of weeks of study. You don't need to become a cloud engineer. You just need to speak the language. So the Cloud Practitioner teaches you exactly that. Now, let me tell you what's actually in the exam, because it's simpler than most people think. The exam isn't technical in the way that you expect. Here, you're not configuring anything. You're not writing code. You're not designing architectures. You're not troubleshooting broken deployments. Here, you're matching services to use cases. A company needs to store files that users can access from anywhere. Which service should I use? S3. A company needs to run virtual servers in the cloud. Which service? EC2. A company wants to run code without managing servers. Which service? Lambda. That's the pattern, over and over. Understanding what core services do, match them to scenarios, pick the right answer. Now, the exam covers 4 domains. First one, cloud concepts. What is a cloud? Why do companies use it? What's the difference between on-premise and cloud infrastructure? What are the benefits of cloud computing? This is foundational stuff. The second domain is security and compliance. This is where you learn about the shared responsibility model, which is genuinely one of the most important concepts in cloud. AWS is responsible for security of the cloud, the physical data centers, the hardware, the hypervisors, and you as the customer are responsible for security in the cloud. So your data, your applications, your configurations, your access controls. So understanding this division matters. Thirdly, cloud technology and services. The core AWS services, so EC2 for compute, S3 for storage, RDS for databases, Lambda for serverless, VPC for networking. Here, you need to understand what each one does and when you'd use it. Fourth is billing, pricing, and support. How does AWS charge you? What are the different pricing models? What support plans exist? How do you manage and optimize for cost? It has 65 questions, 90 minutes, 700 out of 1,000 passed. So roughly about 70% of your score. An exam costs $100. Now, AWS officially recommends 6 months of general cloud expertise before taking this exam. And honestly, that's an overkill. It's a kind of conservative recommendation that covers them legally, but doesn't reflect reality. Now, even if you have no cloud or tech experience at all, you can really prepare and pass this exam in 1 or 2 weeks of focus study. That's how quickly that I did it when I first started. And that's how quickly most of my students do it. Don't let the 6 months recommendation intimidate you. It's not that hard. Now, when I passed my Cloud Practitioner, I took a complete completely different approach than what most people recommend. I didn't start by watching a 15-hour Udemy course from start to finish. I didn't start by reading AWS documentation. I didn't start by making flashcards for every service. I started by taking a practice exam on day one. I failed, but barely. I was only a few percentage points away from passing, and that told me something crucial. I didn't need to learn everything. I already knew most of it from working in tech. I needed to learn the 30% that I didn't know. So what did I do? I made a list. Every question that I got wrong, every concept that I was kind of fuzzy on, every service that I never heard of. Then I studied only those things, not the whole curriculum, not every module in order, just my gaps, active recall, and forcing myself to remember. Don't just reread your notes and highlight things. Close the notes and try to explain the concepts out loud. If you can't explain without looking at it, you don't know it yet. 4 practice exams later, I passed the real thing. 7 days total, start to finish. Now, the problem with most study approaches is that they are not personalized. You're watching content on S3 when you already understand S3. You're reviewing IAM concepts when you've already mastered it. Your weak areas get the same shallow coverage as everything else. You feel busy, but you're not learning efficiently. And that's actually why I built StudyTech AI, the only platform in the world that identifies what you already know and focuses your time exclusively on your gaps. You take an assessment, it figures out where you're strong and where you're weak, and then it builds a study plan around your actual needs. So you're not wasting hours on concepts that you've already mastered. The AI guides you daily on exactly what to study next. Plus, you get unlimited mock exams, no more paying separately for each one. And if you want to check it out, there's a link in the description with a discount for this channel. But regardless of what tool that you use, StudyTech, YouTube, Udemy, whatever, the principle is the same. Study your gaps, not everything. Take practice exams early to identify those gaps. Focus your time where it actually matters. That's how you can pass in weeks instead of months. So, is the AWS Cloud Practitioner certification worth it in 2026? Here is my actual answer. If you're new to cloud and you need structure to start, yes, absolutely, pass it. Then use the momentum immediately to schedule your next certification. Don't let the Cloud Practitioner be your final destination. It's an on-ramp, not a parking spot. If you're already technical, you should probably skip it. Go straight to the Solutions Architect Associate. You'll learn the foundational concepts in context while working towards something that actually differentiates you. If you're non-technical, but work with technical teams, yes, this might be exactly what you need, and it might be enough. Now, not everyone needs to become an engineer, but here is what I really want you to take away from this video. The certification isn't the goal. The capability is the goal. Certifications are signals. They get you past keyword filters. They build momentum. They prove that you can commit to something and actually finish it. Those things matter, but they don't make you an engineer. Building things makes you an engineer. Solving real problems makes you an engineer. Understanding why systems work, not just what buttons to click, that's what makes you valuable to employers. The Cloud Practitioner can be part of that journey. It can be the first win that builds momentum. It can be the structure that gets you unstuck, but it's not a substitute for actual capability. So here's what actually gets people hired. Certification plus proof of work. Not one or the other, you need both. The certification gets you past the initial filter, the proof of work, the portfolio, the projects, the ability to talk through what you've built and why, that's what gets you the offer. Use a Cloud Practitioner as a starting line, not the finishing line. Get the win, build the momentum, then immediately start building something real. Everyone asks whether the Cloud Practitioner is worth $100 and 3 weeks of study. Like I said, that's the wrong question. The right question is, what game are you playing? And is this the right move in that game? For career switchers who need a first win, yes. For technical people who already have the foundation, probably not. For non-technical professionals who need the language to speak with engineers, yes. Figure out which game that you're in, then the answer is obvious. As always, I'm rooting for you. Good luck.